Hi everyone, it's Jules. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my brother, Derek Porter's class and his phenomenal students. I really enjoyed speaking with them the day after Veterans Day. We had a great conversation about veterans, about the military, and of course, video games. I didn't even get a chance to sneak any law in there. They didn't even inquire about my theology degree, but I guess that's more adults that care more about the theology. Of course, the students, the kids, they want to know about video games. So during the conversation, it was great, but we did run short on time, and the students had so many great questions in the chat. So, hello, amazing students. I decided instead of writing you, because I'm sure you read a lot, you've been doing a lot of things at home. I think so. Well, most students, I believe, our schools are doing the hybrid model where they spend some time in the classroom and some time at home. So I'm pretty sure you've been looking at a screen and just reading enough. So I wanted to come on here and just do a quick video and answer some of your questions. All right, so here we go. The first question was, who is Jules Porter? Well, I am Jules Porter. I am the sister of Derek Porter. I'm his oldest sister, so he's my little bro. I am a lawyer, and I also have my MBA. I graduated from the University of St. Thomas School of Law and the University of St. Thomas Opus College of Business. I also went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, so that's in Daytona Beach, but they also had worldwide options. So when I was actually overseas, because I was in the military, I was in the Marine Corps, I had an opportunity to still take the classes there, so that was really great. First and foremost, I believe many of my friends would be upset if I didn't also mention that I attended Florida A&M University down in Tallahassee, Florida. So yes, I am a Rattler. We have the baddest band in all the land. Those of you don't know what Florida A&M University is, you definitely need to look it up. It's what's called an HBCU, Historical Black College University, and it was founded, back in the day when there was still a tremendous amount of segregation in our school systems, and where Black students weren't allowed to attend white universities with white students. So we founded our own schools, and many of those schools are extremely excellent. I mean, I'm sure many of you have heard of Howard. Then you got FAMU, which is, the king of the South to the Southeast region. Okay, let's see what else we have here. What's the link? Yeah, so if you want to know about my video game company, you can go to the website. It is www.seraph7studios.com, and I'll make sure I post it below in this video so you can see it right there as well. I try to put up a lot of art. I realize that, folks don't want to spend a lot of time reading. They want to see some cool stuff, and then if they want to read more, it's good to have some stuff there. So my website is very visual for those folks who just like visual things. And plus, it was fun to show off the art. It's fun to show off your artistic skills. Like that was one of my biggest, I think, mental blocks. It wasn't actually the coding. It was the artistry, the artistic work. I grew up with a couple of my big cousins who are just amazing artists. And I was like, man, I could never do that. They're so great. How could I ever just make something that phenomenal? And I had to put, I guess, that block aside. Not block of anything. For some people, the idea of learning how to code, like that could be a huge block that stops them from getting into technology or getting into video gaming. But really, if you just take the time to do it, you can surpass it. So November 2019, I was so busy, like, I want to get this demo out, but I need an artist. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And how am I going to get the funds to pay for an artist? And then one day I just saw, I think it was Black Friday of 2019. Adobe actually had their Creative Suite, a really great sale. So I was like, you know what, Jules, just get this and learn how to do it and just see how hard it really is. And so by doing that, like, for people who saw my very first prototype of my first character, Jay, who saw it in November to December to January, there was a huge jump in knowledge. And that was just from me taking the time to learn how to do it, a couple hours every day, just learning how to use Photoshop, learning how to use Illustrator, learning how to use, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, and all these things. And I created some really amazing stuff, and it's only grown from there. And you'll see, like, my first character, Jay, started off maybe not the best, but I built her from there. And then after her, my next characters became even more detailed. So you can kind of see, if I show you like the timeline of the characters that I made, you can see my progress just as an artist and taking more chances or focusing on different areas to improve. So some of it was focusing on how can I improve the skin? How can I improve the skin tone? How can I improve the hair tones? How can I make a more colorful outfit? Like things like that. Okay, what games do I play? So I am a huge fan of the God of War series. I am a PlayStation fanatic. I am very open though to getting more into the Xbox. There have been some games that I've missed out on, like Halo. So I definitely want to play Halo. But God of War, I love the God of War series. No matter what people say, all their criticism of God of War, I don't care. I love the game. It is phenomenal. You know, from the first God of War to God of War 2, God of War 3, I played God of War like Ghost of Sparta. I played all the God of Wars for the PSP, the PS Vita, you know, and then I played them again when the remasters came back out or when they, you know, sold the PSP games for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 2. Anyway, I played everything. I played everything God of War. I played it. I have the comic books. Okay, I'm a huge God of War fan. I'm also a Fallout fan. So it was for me, it was like I couldn't do both Fallout and Elder Scrolls and still be able to go to law school and be successful because they take so much of your time, these Bethesda games. So I got really big in the Fallout. However, with a caveat, which is I'm not into Fallout 76. Yeah, I'm not gonna say much more than that. That one isn't for me. But I love Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4 are my faves. I don't know how I feel about Bethesda being sold to Microsoft. I just don't know how I feel. But, you know, I do plan on getting the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. So I should be able to play it. You know, I didn't pre-order. I'm not a pre-order person. You know, the only thing I pre-order, you know, are the God of War games. But other than that, I like for the bugs to be worked out of things and then I get it. That's just kind of how I operate. Okay, what's the next question here? Do I play Rust on Steam? I do not play Rust. I don't play many Steam games. You know, I'm a big privacy advocate. So I was just, you know, back when I guess Steam kind of first came out, I was just concerned with, you know, what the software was doing on my computer, what information it was reading, you know, from me and my privacy. And I still don't fully know. So I've never, you know, downloaded Steam to my computer. I usually just play games that I could play by putting a CD in and playing it that way. I know it might sound old school. So I'm a big Civilization fan. Like I love Civilization 4. I've been trying to get into Civ 6 on the PlayStation 4, but I just haven't had the time to really sit down and get into it. So therefore, I still really hardcore play Civ 4. All right. Minecraft. No, I never got into Minecraft. I think that's another game that if I was to get into Minecraft, nothing else in my life would get done. I would just be playing Minecraft all day. Let's see here. Oh, there's a study about something. I didn't get that, what you meant. Yeah, the human zoo. So I know during the talk we talked about that when they put Black folks and folks in zoos. And one I think was the Bronx Zoo, and people came and just gawked at the Black body. It was quite horrible. It was an extremely degrading experience, and I hope one that we know to never repeat. Do I make gaming products? I don't know what you mean by gaming products, but I make video games. I am interested in making like some comic books, but I'm calling them like immersive digital stories. So you guys know, like it's like the stop animation that's basically comic books with some movement. You know, those are things that I want to make, but I want to make them in a way that encourages, you know, young kids to improve their reading. So I do want them to have like a lot of words, be comic books, but with some movement to make it a bit more fun. So that's one thing that I'm thinking about. Fix 2K. You talk about 2K, who makes a lot of the sports games. I think they make the Mafia games. What am I supposed to do about them? Well, the way that I'm trying to fix the industry is by bringing more characters of color to the gaming, to video games. I mean, like right now, like 80%, a super high number of Black folks under the age of 40 play video games, but only 3% of the characters look like us. And they're not even good guys. They're villains, thugs, drug dealers. Like, we don't get to just go in there and slay some dragons and save some villagers. We don't get to be hobbits in Middle Earth. Like, we don't get to do these regular things. And so my games, you get to see, you know, just diverse folks, you know, doing regular cool things. And then also doing things from our points of view, like bringing some of, you know, BIPOC stories and some of our culture and folk tales and things like that to life in the games. And I think that's going to be absolutely phenomenal with these new storylines. And I think it is important for people, not only Black folks, but for kids of other races to kind of see Black folks doing positive things instead of all this media that just kind of overloads you with just negative imagery of Black people. Like, I'm just so sick of it. I think one of the reasons why there were some studies just in, well, not just white people, but other people too, that when they flashed images and they basically checked their brain and tested their brain for what kind of response the brain had the same fear response for Black men that it did for like wolves and bears. You know, we need to move away from that. Like, I'm really a big believer in just a global, like a brotherhood and a sisterhood. We're all human beings. You don't need to be scared of someone because of the color of their skin. You need to be scared of them based upon what they show their character to be. And I want to help bring us closer to that. Okay. Am I gonna team up with Ronnie 2K in the future? I don't know who Ronnie 2K is. This might sound bad because he could be like super popular. It could be a she. See, I don't know any of this. I should get the RTX GeForce 3090. Well, I have the 2080 Ti. So I got my computer about a year ago. It's a liquid cooled and air cooled, you know, computer. You know, a lot of RAM. But you know, that wasn't even, that wasn't a thing then. So, you know, I can't go upgrading my graphics card every year. I wish, you know, maybe one day I'll have it like that where I can do that. How long have I been designing games? Well, the idea for Seraph 7 Studios actually started in 2016. And I've been working on it ever since then. From 2016 to 2018, I was still a law school and a business school student. So after that, I studied for the bar exam for a summer. So I took the bar exam in 2018, passed the bar exam. Then I worked as a staff attorney for a judge for another year. And then I got a fellowship that allowed me to focus on my video game company full time instead of doing it like part time and whatever like minimal spare time I might have had. So now I'm really in full force with it. What's my computer? I have an HP Omen, and then for my laptop, I have an Asus ROG 752. Now I do need a new laptop. That's probably something I can't get because my laptop is about 4 years old now, thereabouts. So VR, yeah. So I am making a VR game. It's probably going to be my third game. It's called Harriet, and it's basically but since they came out with the movie Harriet, I probably have to change my video game name Harriet. But it's gonna be great. It's about the life of Harriet Tubman, but in the VR experience, you're gonna be the one running. Okay, you're gonna see if you can match what Harriet Tubman did. Can you free, you know, these slaves? Can you get them to freedom? Can you navigate all the challenges that she had to navigate? Can you not get caught? Can you make it through without having to kill anyone? Like, you know, do you have the same type of ingenuity that Harriet Tubman and folks had to? Will you figure out how to navigate the Underground Railroad? Will you figure out who you can trust, who you can't trust? If you decide to take, you know, the woman with her child with you, what happens when you're hiding on the floorboard and the baby wants to start crying? You know, so you have some decisions to make. And so I want this game to be, it's not really for kids per se. It's going to be a horror survival game, because I think that's exactly what the experience was. It was horror and it was survival. So it's also, I mean, I really enjoy playing The Last of Us. I haven't played The Last of Us Part 2 yet, but The Last of Us was fantastic. And so I want a lot of, I want the journey to be that. Like it's fun. There's some scary moments to it, but the scary moments, you know, don't just scare you too far away from finishing the game. Like, I don't like zombies. I don't like zombie movies at all, or zombie games, zombie movies, zombie anything. I don't like zombies. I have nightmares about zombies, so I try not to. But when I played The Last of Us, it got such high like reviews. I was like, all right, let me give this a try. It's a zombie game. Let me try it. And I loved it. It was fantastic. And that's what I want people to do when they play Harry. That maybe at first they're like, I don't know, it seems really scary. Do I really want this experience? But I want the reviews. Like, I want the gameplay to be so fantastic that you're just going to absolutely have to have this experience. Otherwise, you're not a real gamer, you know? Like, if you haven't played The Last of Us, who are you? You know, you say you're a gamer, are you really? No, I'm playing. um, uh, let's see, does the Xbox count for all three? I'm not sure what that meant. Thoughts on PS4 recording party chat now? I'm not sure about that because I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. I buy games for the single player experience. I know that might make me a bit of a dinosaur, but I enjoy playing games, you know, for the ability to relax. I don't always want to be ultra violent and, you know, shooting people down. So, oh, there's a question about do I play like any of the Call of Duties? I'm actually more of a Battlefield fan. Now that's because you know, I am a Marine, and Battlefield focus more on the Marine Corps, so I appreciate that. I like to, you know, if I can support more Marines on screen, I'm all for that and those experiences. Even though, of course, it is violent. Okay, so they say I should play Rust Fortnite. No, I haven't played Fortnite. That's the other one. I think if I play Fortnite, I just won't get anything done. I think I'll be so sucked into that game. It's gonna take all my time and all my money. And you know, yeah, Rocket League is fun. Of course, I'm getting the new Assassin's Creed. That's one of my other favorites. So I love, you know, like I said, God of War, and I love the Fallout series. Assassin's Creed series is also one of my favorites. I played every single game. Of course, I'm getting the new one. I always wait till Black Friday. I like to buy the gold steelbook edition. Is what I do, and it's phenomenal. Nintendo games. I am a big Mario fan. Mario was one of my very first games. So I am a big Mario fan. I'm also a big Legend of Zelda fan. Who is it, right? So I haven't played Breath of the Wild, so I'm behind, and I haven't played Mario Odyssey. So I do need to get a Switch so I can play those games. Absolutely. Like, but when I had a Nintendo 64 back in the day, I loved Perfect Dark. That was one of my favorite games. Okay, do I have a pre-built computer? So my CPU, yes, it's pre-built, but it allows me to easily open it up and modify it to my heart's content, which I already did, but by adding some RAM and stuff like that and adding a hard drive. So yeah, what I liked with the HP Omen was that I could trust the build that was already there, that it's quality, and it was like it has a platinum, you know, battery pack, and just everything in there that I need, that I know is solid construction, solid materials that are being used. It's all parts and components, and I can just build upon it from there. So that's what I chose to do instead of like building it all myself. I needed something that I can use right away and just build on instead of having to replace the entire unit, you know, every so often. I can just replace certain components of it and things like that. What's my work schedule coding my video games? That's a good question. So right now I work as a staff attorney for a judge in addition to working on my video game. So my staff attorney work, I generally do that twice a day. It's really fun. Like I work on some complex cases, and it's really fun. I'm able to help out the judges. So basically, the staff attorney is the one who, when the lawyers file information for a court case, it's the staff attorney who goes through, they review it, they read everything, along with the judge. They listen in on the arguments from counsel along with the judge. And they do a lot of the research because, you know, the judges can hear, man, over 20 cases a day, sometimes 20 cases just in the morning, right? And so for the judge to have to then sit down and write all the drafts from the orders, because there's almost with every case a written order that has to come from the judge. So it will be a lot for the judge to spend the entire day sitting and hearing cases, and then also have to spend basically their entire nights doing all the research and writing the drafts of all the orders. Some of these orders, you know, I would say a regular order is probably about 6 to 10 pages. And then there's sometimes when an order can be, you know, 16 to, I think the longest order I've ever written was about 20 some pages. So that's a lot of writing, and that's a lot of research that goes into it. And you're, of course, you're fact checking the briefs that the attorneys bring in. You're weighing, okay, this is the law, but what's fair in this case that also follows the law? Does the law produce an unfair result? And are there any mechanisms that the judge can use in order to bring that result to a more fair and just conclusion? So there's things like that. And sometimes, you know, the judge will have, in listening to arguments, a quick question that you need to research right there on the fly to provide an answer for. So it's a really fun job. I think it's a really important job when it comes to individualized justice. But beyond that, so I do that 2 days a week. And the other 5 days, I'm pretty much working on my video game company. I always try to take either Friday or Saturday just for myself to just play a video game. And I still count that as work. I count it as market research, which is fantastic. So I do think it's important to see, you know, what are other people putting out there? What's the gameplay like? What kind of reviews did this game get? What do people say about this game? You know, like what are some things about the game that I really love, but other people might have liked or disliked? So like right now, I have a group of female gamers, like other women gamers. We have a little kind of podcast that we record called the Pink Gamers Podcast. And so right now we are playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. So it was a game that I already played that I recommended for the group. So we're all playing it. We're going to review it in December. You know, things like that are really fun because that was a game that focuses on a female protagonist, which is rare. And she's almost really solo for a lot of the game, and she has a mental health issue. So it's really interesting how they really put you inside her head. And so they actually have the voices in her head. You have to kind of play it with headphones because they have 3D sound, and it makes it really sound like these voices are kind of talking to you. Sometimes they guide you on the right path, and sometimes they take you to a very wrong path. Like you can't always trust what the voices in her head are saying, but it's really, really unique. And it's a game about, I think, like acceptance and death and grief, but also being an outcast and sometimes the way I think we treat other people and how it affects them, you know, is really important. So there's a lot of themes there. So see, market research. It's not just that I'm having fun. Yes, I have played Far Cry. So the next question is, have I ever played Far Cry? Absolutely. I'm actually playing Far Cry 5 right now. I don't. Okay, I like Far Cry 3. I like Far Cry 4. I do like Far Cry 5, but there are some parts that I'm just not a fan of. So right now I'm in Jacob's territory, so I don't want to spoil anything. But I don't appreciate, you know, his whole thing is he wants to like brainwash you, but I don't appreciate some of the things that are forced. Like I wish I had a bit more agency and player choice. Like there's a few parts where you have to go through it. It's part of like the brainwashing. And, you know, I've completed it without killing anybody. So I get to the end, they kind of force some things. And I kind of wish that the game would acknowledge, hey, it takes some skill for a person to make it through this whole obstacle course, basically, and not kill anyone. And we should reward that and make that a valid option that you chose not to kill someone. I would really like that. I would like, I guess, more nonviolent options in games because not everybody wants to solve their problems with violence, even in an ultra-violent video game. You know? All right, is my game free? No. So when my game is out, it's gonna retail for like $39.99. So I know games generally retail for about $60 for those AAA games. So my game is gonna be a mid-tier game, and so for that, like a mid-tier price, which is a good $39.99. And that's about the cost of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It was a game that was made by Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory also made Heavenly Sword back at the very start of the PlayStation 3 cycle, and I love that game. I was kind of disappointed that they never went back and added like trophy support, but it was a really fun game. Okay, let's see. Somebody said Pharaoh with a question mark. Yeah, I think I showed you guys a picture of one of my video game characters, and his name is Asar. Asar is the Egyptian name for Osiris, who, you know, the Greeks came by and just changed Asar's name to Osiris. Okay, what's the profit of the game and how much does it take to make one? There you go. That's a great question. So, I mean, what I've budgeted for is about on the short end, $375,000, and then, you know, on the more comfortable end is about $500,000 to actually hire everybody that I need in order to develop the game, and then also some post-launch support. So. And there's actually a great profit to be made, but it all kind of depends on, right? Because when you're making the game, all you have are losses because you don't have any revenue coming in if it's your first game. So it's not until you actually launch that game, and it could take about a solid 2 years. You know, about 2 years to develop the game for a mid-tier developer like myself. As we all know, bigger games, they could take anywhere from 5 to 7 years to develop their games. Somehow, Assassin's Creed, you know, Ubisoft puts these games out every 2 years, every year. I don't even know how EA, well, I do. EA has just this massive corporation, this massive staff. So they're able to push these Maddens and FIFAs out every year, right? So, but are they all created equal, their quality for each of these Maddens? I don't know. I usually only play Madden the years that the Minnesota Vikings are great because that's the only team I want to play with. I'm a huge Vikings fan. So I like to play when the Vikings are good. I learn their playbook, and then Listen, I have actually never lost a single game of Madden. And I only play on all Madden difficulty. So if you want to challenge me, bring it. Okay. But I only play Madden the years that the Minnesota Vikings are good. They haven't been good this year, especially. So I'm not playing this year's Madden. So you're going to have to go back to some previous years. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, your profit can be solid. So I would say for a mid-tier developer, what you're looking at after launch is a range of about 35 million to about $300 million. Of course, unlike if your game just bombs. So a game that bombs is you sold less than 250,000 units in a single quarter for your console game. That's a bomb. So like if my game bombs, I've still made $8.5 million. So it looks good. But of course, some of the barriers to entry are it can be pretty expensive to raise a game. Like it's hard to raise $500,000, you know, especially if you're a Black woman developer, you don't have all that access to capital, you know, which is why it is important. Like all the programs that are building up women, building up BIPOC folks. BIPOC means Black, Indigenous people of color, in order to teach us, you know, how to get in front of investors and how to raise more capital, because that is, you know, one of the biggest barriers to entry that we have is the funding that it takes to actually produce the product. And it's not the talent. Like I said, you can teach somebody how to make these games. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I have my STEAM program for high school students where I'm teaching them how to develop video games. Because it's just excuse my language, but it's a BS excuse to say that there aren't, you know, BIPOC folks out there that you can hire for your companies. All you gotta do is teach them. Okay, how long does it take, you know, to teach a programming language? You know, 6 months to get to like an intermediate level. You know, if they're doing it a couple hours every day, like it's not tough. Okay, so we can build people up to put them in these great tech positions, and the video game industry is a great industry to be in. So what my company does is we build up students, we help encourage them, we give them confidence, we give them competency, mentorship, you know, we get them out there in the tech world. And hopefully, you know, the students who go through my program, I also want to be able to hire them at above market rate. All right, I should make a survival game. Yes, so I talked about the Harriet Tubman game that is a horror survival game. Somebody said Wonder Woman, Superwoman. Hopefully you're calling me those things, and I'm so flattered. But no, my gamer tag is Jules the Dreamer, and I'll make sure I put that below. So if you play PlayStation, you can always add me. We can play together. I'm Jules the Dreamer. But again, I don't play a huge amount of multiplayer games. How long do I work on my game a day? Man, there's some days that I put in maybe 4 hours, and there's some days that I put in like 16 because I just can't sleep. So it all depends. And the other thing is I'm super nocturnal. So for me, like 9 to 5 jobs just drain all of my energy. So the days that I have to be in court, you know, and I have to be up and ready to go at 8 a.m., those are very difficult days for me. So the other days I can usually put in a lot more time into the game and into my company. Will I make an anime game? Yeah, you know what? I'm just starting. I love anime, by the way. Berserk is my favorite anime series. If you haven't watched it, you might be too young. But I'm starting to play Persona 5. So that's the game that I'm going to play after I'm done with Far Cry 5. So that should be, I'm really excited for that. I haven't played any of the Persona games, but I've always heard amazing things about them. So somebody said Naruto. I think Naruto is more like my brother's generation. Like he came up with Naruto. I came up with Dragon Ball Z. Okay, let's see. Do I play Borderlands? I played the Telltale Borderlands series. Telltale, you know, they're out of business now, but they also made Batman Enemy Within series, and they even had a Guardians of the Galaxy, Wolf Among Us. Like they make some really great story-driven games, and I like story-driven games. And those are games where like your decision actually like impacts the game and how people interact with you. And even like what scenes and situations you'll be in. So I really love the Telltale games. I did buy Borderlands, the prequel, and I think Borderlands 2. So I know Borderlands 3 is out, but I haven't really played them significantly. You know what? So the next question is, will I get Cold War? I have been checking out the trailers for that. It does look really cool, and I might actually get it. So it's just going to be back on because I still have to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I'm so far behind because, you know, law school and business school. But I'm going to get there. So Cold War is going to go on my list. Let's see. Have I ever been shot at? Okay, so here's the thing. When you talk to military vets, These are questions that, yes, people want to know these questions. Have you been shot at? Have you ever shot at people? But for many veterans, I mean, those questions themselves can bring up a lot of trauma, because in order to get all those medals that you see, on a veteran's uniform or on an active duty person's uniform, they had to go through some things. So it likely means they've lost some people. It likely means they've been in some very, traumatizing, difficult situations. And so, yes, so often you want to know what the answer is, but you have to realize that when it comes to, I guess, like decorum with military folks, is, maybe don't ask them that question because it could bring up or, could start up some nightmares or some PTSD. And it's difficult, everybody has their own struggle, especially the more recent vets, like vets from the Gulf War, well, all of them, vets from the Vietnam era, vets from the World War II era, the Gulf War era, you got the War on Terrorism era. Those can be difficult questions to answer. Do I like horror games? No. I like to watch people play them, but it's hard for me to play them myself because I do scare easy. That said, I do like vampires. So like back in the day, there was the Blood Rain series. I love the Blood Rain series. But yeah, no, like when it's the horror games and I play it myself, I'm way too jumpy. Like I'm way too jumpy, and I am the first one who makes fun of characters in horror movies. Like, you're making a stupid decision. Why are you doing that? Right? So, but yeah, you put me behind the controller of a horror game. Well, I think the first thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leave. Okay, like if I make the decisions in this horror game, I'm not gonna be there. Okay, I am out. I'm not even gonna be a character in that game. I'm leaving. You're gonna see me at the beginning, and I'm gonna leave. Anyway, let's see here. Playing shooters in VR can help with your aim. Yeah, I remember when I was in the Marine Corps and I was training, we actually had simulation. So we had some M16s that were kind of hooked to a screen, and it actually had feedback and everything. And we use that as kind of like a virtual shooting range when we're overseas and in a place where we can't actually get to a range to shoot. It was really interesting, and I'm pretty sure that was back in like 2003 to 2007 timeframe. So nowadays, I'm pretty sure they're using even more realistic VR simulations for training, which they should. I mean, it's fantastic. There's also some companies that are using VR to help veterans with their PTSD symptoms. So that's really cool. All right, let's get to the next question. Have I ever used a Molotov? I think I answered that in the class. So the answer was no, okay? Like you don't get a standard issue Molotov cocktail in the military. You do get grenades depending on what your job is. And all Marines, when you go through training, you do actually throw grenades. So that's fun. Let's see. I should try Watch Dogs. So I actually have bought Watch Dogs. I didn't find it super interesting, so I don't think I got too far. And then I did buy Watch Dogs 2. I played it with my nephew. He knew everything about the game, so he just took over the controller, and I didn't really get too much of an opportunity to play. But I do plan on getting back in that, and I do want to try Watch Dogs Legion. So we got I should make a VR shooter. I'm not too into shooting games, or I'm not too interested in making just pure shooter games. I would have to have some other aspect behind it. So like one of the games I want to make, the second game is called War in Heaven, and it's a game where a third of the angels in heaven rebel, which is a really interesting story. Nobody's made a game about this, and it's fantastic. So mine is from the perspective of like 7 different angels, and the decisions that you make in the game matter. Like if you start making more violent decisions, then you can start to fall yourself, so it's really interesting. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have from the class. So thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of your class for a little while. I appreciate it, man. You guys were so professional. You were such great students. You were so attentive. You've asked me just some phenomenal questions, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best. Make sure you check me out later, and I'll stay up to date. And when I do launch these programs, if you're interested in learning more about video gaming, just let me know. Just ask my brother, and he can get you in touch with me. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.